Look at this man, sitting there in that ugly shirt. Yes, you! That stuff is garbage! It's no good! So let's change that. That's a lot better! Now he's wearing the new, fresh Dr.Wily merch that you can get as well for only $21.99. Get any of the new Wily character designs on a shirt, hoodie, mug, poster, pillow, anything really. And that's not all. You can also get the Dr.Wily logo on a t-shirt or anything else. So go check it out now by clicking the link in the upper right corner, clicking the link in the description, or by checking out the merch shelf below the video. Now we all know that Zelda is a game set in a medieval setting, so of course swords, shields and other weapons like that have always been the go-to for Link. But while I have discussed those items in quite a lot of videos, which you can find in the upper right corner, today we will look at the bows seen in the games. Because some of them are actually a lot of fun to use, extremely powerful, and even have a big role in the game's story. So let's find out which ones are the very best. Number 5. Now long ago, the world of Hyrule was covered in a darkness, with spirits of light being forgotten and lost. However, after Link freed large portions of the country, the light of the gods finally started to shine once again, leading to one of the coolest scenes in the game when confronting the King of Evil. Because in Twilight Princess, when you take on Ganondorf, Zelda calls upon the spirits of light to aid her in winning, and so she obtains the light arrows and a bow. She then uses the bow to aid you in the horseback section of your battle with Ganondorf, shooting arrows at him so you can strike him down. Personally, I found this moment really cool, and it was also a nice reward for saving all those light spirits, especially because we never really got anything for doing stuff like this in the games. And I gotta say, the horse riding section that comes right after is also quite fun and cool. In general, this is my favorite fight with Ganondorf ever, but this isn't where it ends. Because it also appears in Breath of the Wild, where you can get it when playing with Link. It shoots arrows straight and true, like some sort of beam of light. So now you can run around with it in this huge version of Hyrule, and snipe any foe down from a very long distance, making it quite a powerful weapon as well, since arrows drop quite fast in this game. So a sniper rifle like this is a lot better. But you can only get it from an amiibo, so it's quite rare and you have to spend money in order to even get it, which isn't even a guarantee, because you can also get a bunch of other things from those chests that drop, so it does come down to luck. But once you get it, you're more than happy while shooting light laser beams at goblins who are miles away. Number 4. Now alright, our last bow was pretty good and also really useful, so what could possibly beat something like that? Well, a bow that is quite expensive to make, but is just as good as the light bow. But its backstory isn't as good, to be honest. The ranged weapon I'm talking about is the ancient bow, which can be obtained from Cherry in the Akala Ancient Tech Lab. It can be bought for 1,000 rupees, 15 ancient springs, 10 ancient gears, and 1 giant ancient core. So clearly it's quite pricey. Most people will have to grind quite a bit in order to be able to get this weapon, but once you have it, you are an archery god. This thing has incredibly high power and also a very high durability, but its most notable feature is its immense range. It can fire arrows in a straight line for quite some distance before the arrows become affected by gravity, making it ideal for hitting far off targets. So in the game it's an ideal weapon and a lot easier to obtain than the Twilight bow you get from the amiibos. Well, unless you have a million of them. Then you can just load a ton of them in one by one, getting the best loot ever. But this weapon gets even better, because like all the ancient and guardian weapons, the bow will fold into a more compact shape on your back when it's not used by Link. And personally, I think that's a really cool touch. That's actually why I like a lot of the ancient weapons, because it looks so badass when you grab it, making this one a clear winner. Number 3. Now in this video, we have talked about Twilight Princess before, and that's because it does some really cool things when it comes to gameplay mechanics and story. And in this game, we also come across the hero's bow, which is kept in the Goron mines. And this thing is also pretty freaking sweet. It once belonged to the hero of legend, which probably means that the Link from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask once used it long ago, which is already a cool little story reference. However, it does function differently from those bows. because in this game you can't obtain specialized arrows like the fire, ice, and light arrow. But you can do something completely different now, which is even better in my opinion. And also the big reason why it's even on number 3. You can actually combine arrows with a bunch of other things seen in the game, like the bombs, turning them into explosive bomb arrows like we see in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as well. However, Twilight Princess was actually the first one to ever do it. And I gotta say, it was an incredibly fun feature in this title. I love messing around with it. But there is even more. You can also use the Hawkeye item with the bow, turning the thing into some sort of sniper rifle. A literal sniper rifle. It even has freaking crosshairs, allowing you to hit enemies from afar with extreme precision, which is incredibly satisfying to do. Back in the day when I played this game for the very first time as a kid, I would go into Hyrule Field and shoot down all kinds of enemies from afar, kind of hunting them. In general, I think it's great that this game offers you the possibility to kind of modify your bow to your specific needs. And while some might not agree, I actually like this concept a lot more than the elemental arrows seen in other games. I especially want the Hawkeye combo to return one day, since it's so useful, as well as fun to use on unsuspecting enemies. But I think that won't ever happen. Number 2. Now theoretically, I have covered our next bow already in this video, the light bow. However, the version seen in Twilight Princess is different in my opinion, since Link never uses it in the game. Now the ones I want to look at for our number 2 are the other light bows and special arrows that grant certain bows the same power. And the first game that I want to put in the spotlight is the Wind Waker, where it plays a big role in beating Ganon, but that's not what makes it special. The thing that makes it interesting in my opinion is that they are the ultimate weapons seen in the game, performing a one-hit kill on any enemy other than bosses, even if it's wearing armor, like the Dark Nuts for example. And in the game you also get a fun section when going up the stairs where you can use it to shoot down a bunch of enemies. So you also get to mess around with it before you get to the very end of the game. And if you want a good example of such a weapon being used in a cool way during the final showdown, then Ocarina of Time is a great example. While they don't do any extra damage compared to regular arrows when fighting normal enemies, they are really strong against Ganondorf. They are useful in stunning him, which is a huge part of the fight that you have with him. And I think it's the most fun battle where you, as the player, use them. I mean, the one from Breath of the Wild, for example, was incredibly disappointing. So it certainly won't dethrone it. And there's also another added bonus to using them. The almost guaranteed 50 rupees that drop when you kill an enemy with it. A lot of people don't actually know about this, but it can be really useful for farming. It's quite sad actually that you get it so late into the game. And there are way more examples of the light arrows and bow doing cool things or having strange but very useful powers. I especially like the one from the Wind Waker because they are so strong, and the animation is also quite cool. However, there's something out there that's even better. Number 1. Now we get to the best bow out there. A weapon that is legendary in the game it's seen in because it's so incredibly stupid powerful. Actually, it can be so strong that it kind of breaks the game in a way. Nintendo even came up with things to make it weaker. I'm talking about the almighty savage Lionel bow that can shoot 3 arrows at the same time, dealing tons of damage. It has tremendous stopping power and can pierce thick armor as easily as thin paper. And it does even more damage when you equip bomb arrows or some other special type and bombard enemies with it. It's made from a special steel found at the peak of Death Mountain, but we don't actually know who made them. All we know is that Lionels use them and can easily destroy any target that's in their way. Only Link can really take them on. Almost any other person would be dead in an instant. Now personally, I just like this bow because it's so damn powerful. I have even beat certain bosses in seconds with this bow. Just slap some bomb arrows on that bad boy, draw that string back, aim at that group of bokoblins, running after that stupid boar, and blow them to smithereens. And then we get to its design. Out of all the bows seen in Breath of the Wild, This is the best looking one in my opinion. Sure, there are other pretty ones like the ancient bow that I covered a little bit ago, but this one has more going for itself. It's also associated with one of the most powerful enemies in the game, while also having a mysterious story behind it. And it isn't some sort of streamlined bow, but still not a crude piece of equipment. However, now that you all know which bows are my favorites, I actually want to hear your opinion. Let me know below in the comments what your favorite bow or arrow type is. It can also be from a specific game if you want, like I did with Twilight Princess's light bow and normal bow. I'm just curious if any of you agree with me. But remember, you don't have to.